Some people just don't need your help. They got to go through that cocoons process on their own, because in going through it, their wings are strong enough to fly. Hope that. Be Holy Living says tips of a season of aloneness or singleness and not going back to coping mechanisms, friendship, relationships, TV, and other forms of escapism. Girl, you got a vocabulary. Gentlemen or young lady, you got a vocabulary. That's what I'm talking about. Tips of a season of aloneness and not giving back to coping mechanisms, friendship, relationships, TV, and other forms of escapisms, which when overwhelmed. My tips of this is realizing, number one, that you're not alone and being a productive in your alone time with God. Loneliness is an illusion. I've said this in many videos anytime I answer this question. Loneliness is an illusion. It's a lie because you're not alone. The Bible says he's a present help in a time of trouble. He's a present help. That means he's on standby. He's present. He's there helping you right now. So when you're going through this alone season, the best way to occupy that space of being alone. I like the word aloneness because it's not loneliness. When you're alone, you have to realize that you have time to get things done. Let me show you the books that I wrote in my singleness. This book has 265 pages. This book right here, I wrote this when I was not married, at least 249 pages. This book on warfare is 283 or so pages. This book Unplugged is 157 pages. This book on singleness is 167. You see what I'm saying? Look on my YouTube page, 1,500 plus videos. So what I'm saying is, you got a lot to get done. You know why I'm glad I got a lot of these things done? Because marriage cuts your time in half. Then once you get children, your children cuts that other half in half. So what I mean by that is being alone gives you an opportunity to produce what you need to produce. Because if Adam would have never named the animals, he would have never recognized his woman. Look at what he said when he saw Eve, bone of my bone, flesh of my flesh. I will call her woman. You see what I'm saying? Something along those lines. But God had to put him in a position to call things. I ain't gonna say call things that be not as though they were. Just say, but he had to practice his words so that when he recognized who his wife was, he was able to call her what she was. You see what I'm saying? So what I mean by that is there's just certain things. Listen, singleness is a blessing, man. And the best way to avoid those coping mechanisms is to be mechanical in your mission, in your ministry. To be mechanical, meaning that I'm working on my ministry, I'm working on my purpose, I'm working on this product, I'm working on this, I'm working on myself. Do you know how much people wish they was single again so they could be a better suitor for their husband and wife? They wish they worked on those daddy issues, wish that they worked on those mama issues, that they really worked on all those soul ties, because they would have been a better service to their significant other. That's why I'm so glad that I occupied my singleness and became whole. Wholeness doesn't mean perfection. It just means able to meet the requirements at the basic level and above. And I'm so glad that I got rid of those abandonment issues and all those dark things, lustful stuff, so that I can be a greater service to my wife. I can only tell you that, but I bet you if you ask my wife, she'll let you know. I'm so glad that Josh worked on those things and is willing to work on becoming better, even with the new things that may be swimming in his life now. So what I mean by that is be mechanical in your ministry, and that will help you get over the natural. What I mean by natural effects, the fleshly natural effects of wanting something that you can't have now. And so the best way not to be overwhelmed is to do the work of God at its pace. Man, if you don't know God now, if you can't recognize him now, you ain't going to be able to recognize him in marriage. You're not going to welcome him in your marriage. You know what I'm saying? So what I'm saying is, you're not alone. You have a partner. You have someone right now that's going to teach you, because if you don't get to know God, if you don't know God in your singleness, you're not going to allow him to work in your marriage. I'm telling you that. You're not going to allow, because if you can't acknowledge him now, you're not going to acknowledge him in your marriage. You're going to acknowledge the alcohol. You're going to acknowledge the pornography. You're going to acknowledge another woman or another man. You're going to begin to acknowledge other things to help you cope. You think you got coping problems now. Imagine being in a marriage with someone that could possibly not be the one for you, or is the one for you, but you're not ready for it, quote unquote. Imagine what people go to cope with marriage. Listen, if you're looking for coping mechanism in singleness, imagine how dark, twisted the fantasies are in coping in a marriage. I'm telling you, you get into that marriage and you realize, oh shoot, I done got married in front of all these people, and now everybody know I'm married. It's the real deal now. And so, be productive in your purpose, be productive in your personal development, and you'll begin to see yourself being prepared and ready, because marriage has its own troubles. It's not even about troubles, it's about what's thrown at you. Stuff is thrown at you now, but imagine stuff being thrown at two people who are not in agreement. If you agree with God now and you allow God to connect you with the person he has for you, then you're going to find how me and my wife, it's beautiful how we handle situations now, because we both love God more than each other. We both love God more than each other. So when she tripping, I go to God. When I'm tripping, she go to God. When things are trying to trip us up, we go to God and we find ourselves not tripped up. It's a beautiful thing when you are allowing yourself to be immersed in God and going with the flow with him. And I'm telling you that as a married man, a year and 2 months, I'm telling you now, you better enjoy him while you're single. Get to know him now, because if I didn't write these books, if I didn't do what I was supposed to do in my singleness, these things are helping my marriage now. What you do in your singleness, right now, is either going to help or hurt your marriage. So in the meantime, do what you need to do in this time, so when the time to come comes, you'll be ready for it. Hope that helps.